The USS Scorpion SSN 589 occupies a special and haunting place in the history of naval warfare, a reminder of both the promise and the perils of underwater exploration and military ingenuity. The vessel was a skipjack-class nuclear attack submarine, and when she was laid down in the late 1950s, she represented the very edge of naval engineering. The United States was entering a new era of underwater warfare, one that was dominated by atomic propulsion and shaped by the tensions of the Cold War. The Scorpion emerged as an embodiment of this era, sleek and deadly, designed to operate in silence and carry out missions that were as clandestine as they were critical. She was launched from the Electric Boat Shipyard in Groton, Connecticut, in December 1959 and commissioned in July 1960. At that moment, she became one of the vanguard platforms that would redefine naval strategy. The USS Scorpion featured a teardrop hull design inspired by the experimental albacore, making her a remarkably agile and fast boat. Her design emphasized speed, stealth, and depth capabilities. Powered by a pressurized water reactor, she could operate indefinitely beneath the surface, constrained only by the limits of the crew and the food supplies they carried. At over 250 feet long and displacing roughly 3,500 tons submerged, she was built for reconnaissance, for anti-submarine warfare, and for the evolving role of the submarine in a world where the threat of nuclear war was never far from anyone's mind. Throughout the early 1960s, the Scorpion participated in countless exercises and deployments, many of which remained classified for decades. These ranged from routine NATO exercises in the North Atlantic to highly sensitive surveillance missions deep within Soviet waters. The submarine and her crew became adept at working in the frigid, turbulent North Atlantic, conducting tailing and listening operations that placed them in proximity to the Soviet Union's burgeoning ballistic missile submarine fleet. The role was vital. In an era when information about enemy naval capabilities was worth its weight in gold, the crews of boats like the USS Scorpion operated on the razor's edge between routine vigilance and all-out disaster. Throughout her service, the USS Scorpion embodied the dual nature of the Cold War submarine. On one hand, she was a highly advanced weapon of war, a symbol of American technological prowess and resolve. On the other, she was a cramped, challenging environment for her crew, a place where every sound reverberated and every piece of equipment had to operate reliably under the crushing pressure of the deep. Life aboard was a blend of routine and tension. The sailors who called the Scorpion home learned to adapt to long periods of silence and watchfulness, knowing that one error could lead to disaster. Yet, despite the tension and the dangers, a strong camaraderie developed among the crew. These men shared a bond that came from knowing that every person aboard had a role to play, every role was vital, and every life depended upon the performance of the person beside him. In the spring of 1968, after a long deployment, the USS Scorpion departed from Rota, Spain, for what would be her final voyage. The submarine was making her way across the Atlantic when, on May 22, she failed to arrive in Norfolk as scheduled. An immediate and extensive search was launched, spanning the Atlantic from the Azores to the eastern seaboard. The silence was deafening. The Navy and the nation watched as days turned into weeks and the grim reality set in: the USS Scorpion was lost. What had been a routine journey home became one of the greatest naval mysteries of the 20th century. The wreck was discovered months later, resting on the ocean floor roughly 400 miles southwest of the Azores, in waters nearly 10,000 feet deep. The submarine had suffered a catastrophic event, breaking apart as she sank. The precise cause of the loss has been debated for decades, with theories ranging from a malfunctioning torpedo within the vessel, to flooding caused by equipment failure, or even a collision with a Soviet submarine. The Navy conducted extensive investigations, including deep-sea photography and acoustic analyses. Yet, to this day, no theory has achieved universal acceptance. The loss of the USS Scorpion became a symbol of the dangers of submarine service and a reminder of how quickly the deep can claim its own. The tragedy of the USS Scorpion shaped the future of naval engineering and operational protocols. In the years that followed, the United States Navy implemented the SubSafe program, a comprehensive initiative aimed at making submarines more resilient, more redundant in critical systems, and more survivable under duress. The loss of the Scorpion acted as a catalyst for improvements in hull design.